Here we are in the garden at the school of the horticulture class that I inherited. Some of these trees were a little bit wild, hadn't been pruned in a while, and I'm going to do some pruning. But the first thing I want to do is experiment with using a reciprocating saw or a sawzall to do this. I found online on Amazon some saw teeth that were actually listed as pruning saw teeth as opposed to just the wood teeth. You can see the difference. Now these wood teeth aren't a good example because they're kind of worn down, but I've seen people using these wood teeth and it was gumming up when they were trying to prune, whereas these have a nice depth and alternating teeth, and I think it'll go smoothly. One of the drawbacks I may have is this sawzall is definitely meant to be two-handed, and so you want to hold the branch still while you're sawing. So I'm going to have to use the saw one-handed, probably try to hold the branch, or definitely want to push the branch up against the plate so it's not jumping around as much. But we're going to give it a try. And here's the typical brand new tree pruning handsaw. You can see the teeth are very similar. So we'll take it outside, try it on an apple tree. Okay, this semi-dwarf apple tree was kind of let go. I'm going to bring it down to size and open it up in the middle to get more of the vase look. So I'm going to give my first attempt at using the sawzall. I'm going to let this branch continue to grow out. Actually, I'm going to let this one grow out. Nope, I'm going to take it right here, and we're going to get in here and see what happens. Okay, that was a pretty clean cut. It took a little longer than I thought it would because I didn't hold the branch still, and so it was vibrating back and forth with the saw. So when you're using a hand saw, it tends to hold still so you get a cleaner cut. I'm going to try another branch here in just a second, and I'm going to hold it still as we go. So I will actually be one hand sawing this time and holding it still, so I believe it'll make a quicker, cleaner cut. I have seen reciprocating saws that are made to be one-handed. It rests on the forearm and you have a handle here. Those would definitely be helpful. The saw blade I'm impressed with. The leverage that I get when I'm holding this far back and trying to push in and hold it one-handed, that's not as good. A firmer branch would be easier to cut. Here we have another tree that definitely was let to go wild and needs to get some stuff taken out of the middle. I'm going to clip some of these smaller ones, and then we'll take the saw in here and see if we can take out a big chunk right here. That's a good clean cut, went nice and quick. All right, clearing out the middle again. Easy peasy. I'm going to take out this other one right here too. After doing this experiment with the reciprocating saw and a tree pruning blade, I found it to be successful, and I will definitely be doing this again. It was light but powerful enough to get through the branches quickly. Sometimes when I run into an overgrown tree, I've tried to clean it up with a chainsaw to bring it back into order. The chainsaw is heavy and doesn't make that clean of a cut. I thought the reciprocating saw did a good job making clean cuts. One thing I might do differently is try to find a reciprocating saw that's meant to be used one hand, or I might also get a clip on my belt so that I could just hang it off my belt and walk around and have it with me. But I will definitely be using this in the future. I wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting off a branch. Stick around for another minute. Here's a couple things you don't want to have happen in your orchard. Our groundskeepers needed a place to go with all the leaves, and they know I do like leaves in the garden to turn in and whatnot, but they dumped it right on the base of the trees, and it's created this real slimy muck that is not good. You don't want this on the very trunk of the tree. It will rot the trunk and cause problems. Now I do want wood chips, but I'll put wood chips down here, and we have a bunch of wood chips. There's a pile behind me here, and then there's another huge pile over there that we got dropped off. And we're going to cover this whole area with several inches of wood chips, But instead of having it piled high right against the trunk of the tree, that's where it will actually be low, and we'll keep space around the trunk, and then we'll get the chips up high and spread them out here. But you don't want to have rotting plant material right up on the trunk of your tree. This tree is an absolute mess. First thing I did, I actually just cut this, but when you get the tags down here in the crotch of a tree and leave it on there tight, the tree tends to grow up around this. This has happened on my property a couple times. I didn't cut it off. I like to leave the labels so you can see it, but it's better when they're up here and loose, because if it grows around it, then it ends up killing off this branch and this whole thing dies out. I hope you'll continue joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching, including horticulture, is my job, and outdoor projects are my passion.